afternoon, everybody. This is Sanjeev Mehra from the Institute of Marine Engineers. And today we have with us Mr. A.K. Gupta and Mr. V.K. Jain, Chairman of the Mumbai branch. Over to you, Mr. Jain, sir.
Hello, everybody. As part of iTalk version 2, we are extremely delighted and privileged to have with us Shri Arun Gupta today with us. Not only is Mr. A.K. Gupta an IMEI member, but a marine engineer who has over 4 decades of experience in the shipping industry. He was the ex-CMD of Shipping Corporation of India during the period 2014 to 2016. After 2016, when he superannuated, he was appointed as the MD of a company owned by Sagarmala and hence classified as a PSU. India Ports Global Limited was set up to develop ports abroad with Indian assistance and with the involvement of the Indian people. During these last 4 years, he has been completely involved in the development of Chabahar Port. So, with your hard work and perseverance, you have created something of immense value out of nothing. This, despite numerous political challenges Iran has been facing over the decade. Can you tell us a little bit about the challenges you have faced and the development of Shahed Beheshti Port in Chabahar?
Thank you, Vijay. At the outset, I feel honored to be invited for this talk or discussion, whatever you call. Looking back at my involvement with Chabahar Port, I would say almost 5 years. I was involved when the MOU was signed in May 2015. At that time, my involvement started. And if I look back now, it gives me immense satisfaction. Really, it was very challenging to know the political environment. Somehow God has been very kind, great. And as you all are aware, we have started operations at Chabahar Shahed Beheshti Terminal since December 2018. Well, in this journey, I have learned a lot. From a shipping man, I have slowly graduated to become a port man. It was a great learning experience to learn the technicalities of port operations. We knew ports, but from a different angle. Operating a port is a different game. Anyway, so I think I feel, as I said, very satisfied that the port is up and going. It is almost 19 months of operations are over. This is the 20th month running. About 90 vessels have so far called our port. I look forward to celebrate 100th call of a vessel. Over 9,000 TUs we have handled. Bulk cargo about 14 lakh tons. So for a greenfield port, I think it's a great going.
Sir, it's a very strategic port. Being in outside, it's the only oceanic port of Iran, and being outside the Strait of Hormuz, it has an immense strategic value. Not only by its location, it also can serve as a feeding point, not only for Iran, for the CIS countries, also for Afghanistan. Can you just touch upon the importance of the port and how do you see it progressing in the time ahead from where we are currently?
Vijay, you correctly said the most important is that it is outside Strait of Hormuz, so it is insulated from any possible blockades during hostilities. Apart from that, the plus point is it has got a draft of 16 meters. Proximity to India is another great advantage. west coast of India, both Mundra and Kandla are barely 550 nautical miles. JNPT is 786 nautical miles. So it has got immense advantage. See, from Kandla or Mundra, you can reach Chabad within 2 days, 2.5 days, a very short distance. So in future, I would say in another 5 years, or definitely within 10 years, Chabad would be the third largest port of Iran. We cannot beat Bandar Abbas and Bandar Imam Khomeini. They are established. Bandar Abbas has got his own advantage of being bang opposite Dubai, Jebel Ali. But both the ports are vulnerable. You know the reason. So everyone knows the strategic importance of Chabad. In future, Chabad can be gateway not only to Afghanistan, but other CIS countries also. When International North-South Corridor was formulated, basically it was thought that cargo would go through Bandar Abbas, but now the thought process has changed. Well, Bandar Abbas remains where it is. Chabad will be like an eastern corridor, and we plan taking cargo to Russia through Chabad. Luckily, as well as Government of Islamic Republic of Iran, both are committed to promote the port. Both the governments are willing to give incentives and discounts. Already so many discounts have been given. Another strategic importance for Chabad port is to serve, as you rightly said, landlocked Afghanistan. Afghanistan does need a seaport. It is heavily dependent on Karachi at present. It is an established route, and we are trying to break it. It will take, we have met with some success. I would say transit cargo in November 19 was only 1.3% of our total volume, but now it stands at 26%. So lot of cargo is coming from Afghanistan to India. So things are in the right direction, and well, I see a very bright future for Chabad in days ahead.
Sir, it's wonderful to hear this. The vision of the creation, to think ahead of such a great idea, and your wonderful execution has helped develop it to where it is. Our best wishes to you, and good luck, and we hope that it will continue to grow and prosper. Thank you so much for that, sir. The second issue which I would like to touch upon is that at IMEI, we are all extremely proud of the fact that you were the first marine engineer to become the CMD of Shipping Corporation of India. How do you look back on your innings with the SCI, and what would you consider your major achievements, sir?
Well, almost 40 years in SCI, little short of 40. When I joined SCI as a fifth engineer, I never thought I will reach to that level. And even after joining Shore in '89, it never came across my mind. Well, I never aimed or targeted. I thought at the most we'll become general manager. That's all we must aim. But again, I say God has been very kind. I would rate myself not an very academic or something. Yes, I was above average, everything.
So
nothing exceptional.
You're being very humble, sir.
I was at the right place at the right time. And when I became chairman of SCI in January 2014, believe me, Vijendra, the feeling what I got कि मैं कहाँ फंस गया. what to do. I don't have a magic wand. How to transform the company? So anyway, I said, let me do my bit and let's see what happens. Earnings could not be increased. The markets were very bad. The focus was to cut down on cost, cut down expenses, whatever possible. And austerity was the key word for me. Austerity everywhere. Whether it will matter or it will not matter, I built that culture of austerity in SCI. Believe me, I never traveled by business class while I was at CMD SCI. And my other colleagues, other directors also reciprocated. None of them traveled. We used to travel economy, though our entitled was business class. So you have to walk the talk. I have not shared with anyone. Maybe very few in SCI would know that I took a voluntary pay cut also from my salary. No, unless company turns around, I will not take my full pay. So these are few things I did for my own satisfaction. I tried my best. Fortunately or unfortunately, I would say rather fortunately, I was Director Technical, Director Finance and CMD. So things could move fast. I learned a lot about finance also. And again, maybe God was on my side. Gradually, we could turn around the company, despite market being adverse. See, austerity did not contribute so much, little bit, but only the culture was developed. Two main sources of turning around of SCI after 3 years of losses. Number one was right employment of VLCCs. VLCCs can make you or break you.
They're like white elephants.
So you have to have a blend of safety and aggression in your employment of VLCCs. Well, it was a teamwork. I won't take any credit for that. All the employees were determined, and those gainful and rightful employment of VLCCs and the gut feeling. Sorry. And the gut feeling, at times we refuse IOC, the charter of VLCCs, because we had a gut feeling that the market is going to rise. So that was one issue. I just concentrated. I never interfered in any other operational matters. It was only employment of VLCCs. Rather, I did not interfere. I just wanted to be consulted. Let us focus on VLCCs. So things went well. Then judicious renegotiation of prices for the vessels which were on order, some cancellation, lot of legal hassles to get the money back. We had lot of currency gain. We had given some advance to them. That was at maybe $45. When we got the money back in rupees, it was $55. So a lot of that factor was also there. But the bottom line is we could turn around the company. And as you see, still the company is progressing very well. The last quarter results were very good. And again, what I understand is because of the VLCC market.
You are very humble, and to learn that you yourself took a pay cut, it's something very significant. And the very fact that it led rather at that point of time to a net surplus after years of sustaining losses, that itself is a proof of the pudding. And it's really amazing under your stewardship that SCI could have achieved and reached where it is currently. My
Vijay,
last,
let me add one thing. When I took over, the first meeting what I attended was that in the ministry that SCI was earmarked as a sick unit. They say, let us wind up SCI. SCI has not given us any dividends for last so many years. And I took over in January 2014 and the new government came in May 2014. And the Honorable Minister was very clear about his views. To the extent, Mr. Gupta, I want results, otherwise you keep your badge ready. That was a message in no uncertain terms. So just now I can share all these things.
it's indeed a revelation, sir. And to work, to know that you are under so much pressure, and under that pressure, you were able to turn around Shipping Corporation. And like you said, in the past couple of quarters, there have been unprecedented results, mainly due to the tanker rates, etc. And this has probably led to a talk of not being privatized. Earlier, there was a talk of privatization, etc., which is now people are beginning to think differently. It's very nice of you to have shared this, your experiences in Shipping Corporation. This brings me to the last question, or the last sector which I want to touch upon with you. Sir, you have been actively involved with the IMEI. You have been a past chairman of the Bombay branch in 2013. You were elected as the Inmarco chairman. You have been an All India vice president of the IMEI. Quite clearly, your love for IMEI has always been there, and it is still there. Can we have some advice, some guidance? You know, IMEI has now grown, and it has over 11,000 members, which is probably double of what were there when you were the chairman of Mumbai. How do you think the IMEI is functioning, and how do you think that the IMEI can grow further, sir?
Well, I think IMEI is going great guns. It is in safe hands, and it is nice to see the transition taking place. The younger generation stepping in, taking the responsibility. So that is something very good. I also see the institute transforming to the latest challenges, adapting itself, whatever is required. So overall, I think IME should maintain its visibility, should maintain its commitment. Only one thing it comes to my mind at times, maybe I'm wrong. Last few AGMs, I've been observing that maybe we are running institute like a corporate. All the focus is on profits. Well, profits are important, but some profit should be there. That is all right. But the welfare of the fraternity, what are our objectives? That should be met. Our objectives are not to make money. Money is for survival. Let us make bare minimum, break even. Let us not compromise or do away with something which is useful to the members, which was giving help, or close something or discontinue. No, it is not giving us profit. That sort of a thing is something I feel, unless until it is absolutely necessary. We can make profits in Marco, etc. We make money. But then I have never raised this issue in AGMs and all, because GC is there, people are there, all minds together. But since today you have asked me this question, at times I feel that our objectives must come in the front rather than the profits. Profits are required, but more important are the objectives. Rest, no complaints from the institute, dedicated staff, office bearers, good teamwork, and I look forward to next in Marco.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for all your kind words and for your guidance. Thank you for this interview, for taking time off from your schedule. It's wonderful to have you with us, and we always feel attached to you. And thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.